Greetings, I'm Scott Usher. I'm the creative director at Haven Light. This is Haven Light Artist Spotlight, and we're here in the studio today with Shelby Stroud. Shelby, thanks for coming in today. You're very established in what you're doing right now. I mean, people are really excited about this artwork that you create, but it started somewhere. There's a point when you began to kind of move the earth around, as it were, and put these things together. How did that come about?
Well, I can't sit still.
Really?
It's the ADHD in me.
Didn't notice that.
When my kids were, swimming in the pool and whatever, I was not somebody to just like lay on a chair. And I had to be doing. And I started removing some of this this brush in our yard, and I found this whole rock garden that had probably been put in there 25 years before, that had just been grown over. We didn't know it was there. I don't even think the people who sold us the house knew it was there. And it was awesome. But I uncovered it all, and then I started moving the rocks around, and then I decided to take the rocks and make them into like an ocean. So it's like the beach and the sea and whatever. And it brought me so much peace. Like I just really felt calm and happy as I did it. And I even, if someone called and it was stressful, I would, without even knowing, I'd find myself outside moving rocks around while I talked to them on the phone. I think it was just like a mechanism for peace. And when it got cold, I went inside, and I couldn't be in the rocks anymore because it was really cold in Illinois in the winter. And I had jars and buckets and bowls of shells everywhere. And I just thought, I wonder if I could make something. If I could make a picture out of those. I had done collages and things with magazines way back when. And so I tried it with that picture of my daughter, and it worked. So the rest is history.
The rest is history. So you're in town today from the Sunshine State, as it were. Why are you here with us today?
Because the Church Museum has their international art competition, and they selected one of mine to be in it.
A previous piece of yours also got into this international art competition.
I really felt like I didn't really have a shot of getting in last time, and I didn't think I really had a shot to get in anyway because I had just started. Like, I was very new to all this. I had never entered anything. I had never, obviously, sold anything. Like, it was all new to me.
I've had the pleasure of having the opportunity to see what one of your originals is like. But I have a feeling unless somebody stood before one of them, and if they really haven't had the opportunity to lift one of them up, they have no idea of the scale that you work at, and I'll say even the weight of what you work at. It's easier for you to work bigger than smaller.
Oh, yeah. The bigger it is, the better they turn out.
And you can end up with one of these things weighing a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah, the Christ one is exceedingly heavy.
What does Christ mean to you? What has he done for you so that that this comes out of you?
That one, I fought. I felt like I should do it, and I just kept saying, no, I am new to this. Yeah. I'm not going to create the creator.
Yeah.
Like, he's the ultimate. He's what you would do after you have been an artist all your life and finally can maybe try to capture who the Savior is. Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. And I wanted to do like him walk, just his feet walking on the water with the water spraying, because then I could use shells again, because it's the water and it's the ocean or the Red Sea or Galilee, whatever it was. But I kept feeling like it. And when I thought of using rocks, I was like, yeah. I mean, obviously, rocks for Christ. He is the rock. He's solid and sure and permanent. And I finally gave in, and I didn't really tell people I was doing it because I didn't have a lot of confidence. But I can tell you that as I did it, I cut everything out of my life that I could that would take the spirit away. If I'm going to do this, I need the Lord. I need help. I need all the help in the world. And I would pray before I started because I just knew what I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Which was this, and I really liked my life at that time. It's funny to know what that feels like and the help that you can get if you live your life that way and then not be able to maintain it. Like, I know what that feels like. Do I only listen to and watch and that stuff now? No.
Yeah.
How come if I know what superpowers that gives you, do I fall back into my old patterns? I really, really tried to be in a space where I could get the inspiration that I felt like I needed because I knew I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah. Understanding the medium, bringing the medium into what you're doing with the individual, and tying it all together with just a bow with the title on top of it. Tell me about Not Broken.
I had just finished one of my sister-in-law who had passed away. And I think that and like a lot of artists, you process things with art. And I had used it to kind of get through that phase where she was dying. I would go and help with their family, and then I'd come home and work on it, and I'd go and help with their family, and I'd come home and work on it. And I just think I needed it to get through that. And another thing that I was struggling with or had struggled with for years was the prevalence of mental illness in my own family, but Carly was like the most. She lived at my house as a child. I mean, she had taken a linen closet in my house and converted it into her bedroom. Like, she literally lived at my house a lot of the time, and she's just the cutest kid. She was my daughter's best friend, and she just, I love her.
Yeah.
And as she got into like her teenage years, she started falling apart.
Yeah.
And she had severe depression, severe anxiety, suicidal inclinations. She had to be hospitalized. They tried every kind of treatment, every kind of everything, and she lived kind of scared and worried, and that happy light and lightness had kind of gone away, and she couldn't do school, she couldn't, and just heartbreaking to watch. And because of it, she felt broken. She felt like she was made wrong, and that she was not valuable because of all of this, what she perceived as broken parts of her, like that she just wasn't complete. And so in doing that one, it was partly to process, to take time to ponder and think about those things. But also, I wanted to spend a lot of time. These take forever. These take months. And I wanted to spend a lot of time kind of as a gift to her to say, you are worth all my time. You are so valuable. And what I did with that one is I collected broken shells. Everywhere I went, I collected the broken ones. I didn't purposely break them. They were already broken. But, and I'd say 98% of that one is made out of broken shells.
Yeah.
And because together, when you look at it, she is absolutely not broken. She's beautiful. In that picture, she's got a bit of a haunting look. She chose the photo.
Really?
Yeah, because it's how she feels,
Yeah.
And you may have parts of you that are broken or that you perceive as broken, but she is not broken.
She's whole.
She's whole. She's complete. She's beautiful. She's deep and wonderful. I can't love her more. And you know what? It just sucks. It sucks that people have to go through mental illness and to deal with that and to not get to feel and know who they are because of that, whatever causes it, that deficit.
Yeah.
Oh, it just, so anyway, that was getting through that.
So obviously it was hard to put together. How was it when she got to see it?
I think it meant a lot to her. I think it meant a lot to her mom, for sure. And I think she came out and actually got to see it in person. She was in Germany, too.
Yeah.
And she came out, and she's like, it's so different seeing it in person. You just don't realize how many tiny little pieces,
Yeah.
how many decisions it is.
We talked about another piece that you had kind of thought about a little bit, but you haven't done it, which is doing something of somebody that's going through treatment for an illness, using the things that are part of what that process is.
Mm-hmm.
And while we've kind of talked about it, you haven't done it. And I'll just sit there and say, wow, because it's crazy personal, and to go into that space again is probably not a thing to do.
Well, so, yeah, I had lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, when my daughter, the Not in the Ocean daughter, the week she turned 1, we found it. So she was my 4th. And, I mean, my husband was in his final year of his residency for oncology. So crazy to get cancer as he's finishing up his training.
Shouldn't have brought that home from work.
Exactly. It's his fault.
Yeah.
But, you know, how amazing for him to be on the other side. Like, I really feel like it was the...
Did he treat you?
He did.
Wow.
Supervised.
I thought he would have walked away from that.
Well, my daughter described him at that time as a crumpled up dollar.
Yeah.
Like because he had just lost a patient, similar in same age, same kind of things going on, just like a month before.
Yeah.
And so he knew. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I was just like, just tell me where to be and when. I don't want to know. Don't tell me the odds. I was like, never tell me the odds. I didn't want to know that stuff, but he knew. And so it was hard for him. But I think that it was the final training that he needed because, you know, you treat your patients and you send them home.
Yeah.
But he got to be home. He got to see me sleeping on the floor by the toilet.
Yeah.
And what it's like to actually shave your head finally and to see your wife using a lint roller on her head because it was so satisfying to just pick up those last few hairs.
Those last little hairs.
That were the stragglers.
Yeah.
But so we have a great picture actually that he took of me when I was bald.
I've seen that. Yeah.
But it's been, 17 years?
Yeah.
And I still, get red in the cheeks. I'm not so confident that I'm like, look at me, bald. Look at me, sick and whatever.
And for the amount of time it takes you to do this.
I'd have to look at myself a long time.
Look at yourself a long time, go back to that space for a long time.
Yeah. But honestly, it's one of those things. There was a surgeon, a brain surgeon, who died and came back, one of those kind of books and whatever. And they were an atheist when they died. And they said, if you could say anything about, what you learned, how could you sum it up on a podcast? And they said, the good is good in our lives, but the bad is good too. And that is how I feel about that experience. Like, it was not easy and it wasn't fun and I wouldn't choose it.
Yeah.
But it made my husband such a better doctor. I mean, he was a great doctor anyway. He had all the knowledge, but he didn't have that compassion for what goes on. And he gets to help people all the time in a really hard time in their life with that extra knowledge. Of course, I learned all the things and how much I still needed how much I still need to live for to get better at and whatever. But so I don't look back at that time at like a horrible. I look back at it like a school. like a big learning phase. And there was lots of laughing. And all of my family, all of my friends, everybody gathered. Everybody came for a week, one at a time. While I went through all the chemo and all the things, and just I got to see all the love, and it's not a negative. So I don't get sad thinking about that. It's just, like you said, very personal.
Yeah. Like you say, but that's, to me, the thing that is just so awesome about what your media is that you're working in is that you can go from, again, you have a painter's just kind of stuck with paints, and a sculptor has a lot more leeway, but that you can bring in stuff that so physically directly has to do with what your subject matter is, makes everything completely unique. It's not this piece, because you haven't been inside of the museum with this piece hanging, but you have a great story about when you dropped off. I remember those at the museum, and you just got to sit there unknown and watch people encounter your artwork for the first time.
When I was driving across the country with my daughter a few months later, I got to go and be anonymous.
Yeah.
And sit on a bench and watch people come and go and look at it and just, I mean, this whole thing has been rewarding. I don't know why I get more prizes for it, because I like doing it in the first place, but it just felt like such a huge blessing to get to sit and watch people interact with this. And one of my favorite parts was this couple came in, and I think with their grandkids. And I was just sitting on a bench, and they came right up the stairs and walked right over to my piece. They didn't wander. They went straight to it. And they started asking the kids, like, oh, can you see the seahorse? Can you find the this and that, and the little shark egg pouches and mermaid purses and whatever? And they were finding them, and they were pointing them out, and they're having a good time. And I was like, this is so cool. But then they took those same kids and they pulled them way far back and said, now what do you see? And like, oh, it's a girl. She, whatever. And they're describing her. And they said, this is like our lives. We make all these little choices, and everything sometimes seems like there's just so much overwhelming and whatever, and you think it doesn't matter. But when you get to the end of your life and you look back and you see what it's become. And of course, I sat there just crying, and as they were leaving, they were just going back out of the museum. Like,
didn't look at anything else.
No, they came to see the piece and then to leave. As they were leaving, I caught up with the man, and I walked up to him and I said, you just have no idea what that meant to me. And he said, oh, that piece, you have no idea what that piece means to me. I've used it in a lesson at church, and it's just really changed the way I think about it. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You have no idea what that piece what this meant to me, because I created that. And he grabbed me and hugged me and just said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And like to have, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I get to do this stuff, but it was awesome.
I've sold in my career. I've worked with awesome artists. I've sold a Google of beautiful pictures to people everywhere. Being in the Christian art business is completely different than any other art business, because I haven't seen that level of life-changing impact of a single piece of artwork on people. Since I've been in this space, I've literally probably had 20 to 25 people that we have had conversations with that have said, I was going to kill myself until I saw that painting. That got me through my divorce. That got me through losing my child. And this is the only form of artwork that I've seen that has that level of impact, that life-changing level of impact on people that can dig that deep and really
it's like
provide
music,
that.
And
Yeah.
it's so great to get to be a part of something like that. This has been a very crazy experience for me to go from gluing some shells down in my basement to knowing that the art that I've created is around the world.
Yeah.
Like hundreds of people have it in their home. Like something that I made with a lot of help. But so I've just been feeling like, because like I said before, I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And I've been thinking a lot about the loaves and the fishes.
Mm-hmm.
And in that story, it's like later on in the day when everybody's hungry. It's not like they get there fresh at breakfast and are like, let's feed these people.
Mm-hmm.
So these 2 fish and these loaves of bread have been like in some kid's bag all day. Fish in a bag all day. And as I've been pondering it, I feel like I am so a stinky fish that's been in some kid's bag all day. Like I am not capable of being a meal and feeding thousands of people. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And I was speaking in North Carolina a few weeks ago, and I actually took him, which was an endeavor because he's so heavy.
Yeah.
But I was speaking to the women, which I don't do, so don't anybody get any ideas. But I said, as women in the church especially, we feel like we're not enough. And we feel like we'll never measure up. We'll never be all that we need to be and whatever. And I said, but you know what? You're right. We're not enough. And we never will be. We are all stinky fish.
Yeah.
But the Lord can take stinky fish and turn it into a meal for thousands, which is what I feel like he did with this one. He took my meager talent and my meager abilities and my meager amount of time and my meager ability to get rocks in Florida and turned it into something miraculous. And then he distributed it to thousands.
Yep.
Like, you guys coming into my life is a miracle. And being able to have Deseret Book sell it and whatever is a miracle. None of those things. I know I'm a stinky fish. I know I couldn't do any of that. And so to have him take little stinky me and turn it into something like that, I just have felt like it's been such a miracle.
It's like how Dallas Jenkins has positioned everything that the Chosen's doing. We are the 5 and 2, and all of us working together can feed 5,000. We might only be 2 people. We might only be 5 people. We might, I'm 1. But through the power of Christ and by committing to it, you can feed 5,000. I want to thank you for being in the studio today. Look forward to having you back next time you're in town. So we've been here today with Shelby Stroud. I'm Scott Usher. I'm the creative director at Havenlight, and this has been Havenlight Artist Spotlight.